That's it. That's the season. We're done. See ya. Doug Maurice, Bill Landis.
We're doing a video.
We're almost done. Ari Wasserman here at University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, where the Ohio State Buckeyes just won the Fiesta Bowl to finish this 12-1 season. So let's move on to next season. Ari, what did you see in this game today that told you something about the 2016 year for Ohio State?
What I saw was the fact that Ohio State's losing half their team probably, but the most important position on the field that you definitely want to build a team around is coming back, and that's JT Barrett, and he played a heck of a game, I thought. Ohio State's offense was balanced. I thought the play calling was much better. Maybe it has something to do with Ed Warner being in the box. But just the idea that he was threw it 31 times, rushed it 23 times. Some of those might have been sacks, but you get the point. He was the complete player. So they're going to have to replace guys like Ezekiel Elliott, probably Mike Thomas, maybe Jalen Marshall. You never know, with other skill position players. But I think as long as Urban Meyer is installing that new offense and those new offensive pieces around a established quarterback that might be at Ohio State for 2 more years, they might have a big shot at maybe being a dark horse to compete for a playoff next year.
And JT did say earlier that he knows it's going to be more of a throwing team next year without Ezekiel Elliott there. So the experience is going to be on the outside. Even though they're losing Mike Thomas, they have JT. They have guys like you think Jalen Marshall is back. Noah Brown should be back, healthy. They're going to have some options at receiver. Bill Landis, what do you got?
I think a really obvious thing is that Sam Hubbard's really good. And while Joey Bosa is awesome and maybe the best defensive player in the country, I think they're going to be pretty okay with outside defensive linemen. I thought it was very telling that Joey Bosa started defensive tackle. Maybe it was just sort of a novelty thing to get him out there and throw something different at Notre Dame. But I wanted to see that they had faith in a guy like Donovan Munger and Michael Hill and Tracy Sprinkle. And those guys all played because they had to, but I thought it was a little telling that only Hill started and Bosa played defensive tackle. They took Bosa out of his position. I don't know how much faith they have in the guys on the interior of the defensive line, and it's kind of a recurring thing. I know that's happened since Urban Meyer has been here. But the older players at that position were not guys that seem to be very heavily relied on, and now they have to take over next year with guys like Adolphus Washington gone and Tommy Shutt gone. So I'm interested to see how that plays out if the young guys who are behind them sort of jump them in the offseason.
We did see, Bosa, after that first series, they went back to Munger and Hill being in there. But I think there are some guys we didn't see at all this year who could factor into that next year. A guy like Robert Landers, or I don't know if Ja'Shawn Cornell can play inside or not. Or
I was walking behind Robert Landers off the field, and I'm a large human. He made me feel small. So,
Von Bell's going to leave. He didn't announce that for sure, but I think we're all pretty certain that Von Bell's done at Ohio State. And I think Darren Lee's up in the air. I think Darren Lee could go either way. But I felt like this game was another reminder of having speedy playmakers like that just changes the defense. And when you have a defense that wants to put corners on an island and allow the rest of the defense to attack, you have to have guys who can attack. And Von Bell and Darren Lee in combination are just unbelievable. They chase down everything. They hit. They can cover. And if you lose both of those guys, I thought it was a big deal a couple years ago when Ryan Shazier left, and I said, what are they going to do? They cannot replace Ryan Shazier. And it was like, oh, Darren Lee is right here. He's never played, but he's going to be an All-American. I don't, Chris Worley or Jerome Baker could be that guy at linebacker if Lee leaves. I don't know who it is for sure at safety with Von Bell almost certainly gone. You got to have some playmakers against spread teams who can make plays in the open field. You can't just have Sam Hubbard getting after the quarterback. You have to have guys in the back seven who can get after the guys who have the ball in their hands. And I think people need to appreciate how good that combination of Darren Lee and Von Bell was. We saw it again today, even though Notre Dame did move the ball. But they're going to be tough to replace. So we're going to have a lot of stories coming today, the rest of the week. I think we'll reflect a little bit on this season, which I think fell short of what it could have been, but obviously it's still a very good year for Ohio State. We're going to look ahead a lot because a lot's going to change. We're going to figure out exactly what's changing, but next year's going to be interesting. So thanks for sticking with us this whole year. He's Ari, he's Bill, and I'm Doug. That's it for this season on cleveland.com, and 2016's underway.